The grid goes down at 3 a.m. Nobody knows why. Nobody comes to fix it. That's day one. By day three, your neighbors are knocking, not to check on you, to take from you. You have two choices: run to the countryside like everyone else, or vanish where nobody thinks to look, right here, inside the collapse itself. Cities don't empty overnight. Most people think they do. Most people are wrong. Historical collapses produce complex patterns. In Mosul, over 1 million people fled. In Sarajevo, civilians were trapped by a blockade. Survival there was a function of being unable to leave, not a strategic choice to stay. In every case, those who understood their urban environment outlasted those who fled blind into the unknown. The city hides you better than the woods ever will. Here's what you need to understand. When society cracks, movement is the enemy. Every refugee convoy is a target. Every highway is a kill zone. Every face in a crowd is a stranger who wants what you have. But the rubble is yours. Start with building selection. This is everything. You can't vanish if you're in the wrong building. Floor selection is a trade-off, not a simple answer. Ground level is where desperation lives. It's where the kicks come through the door. It's where the windows get smashed at 2 a.m. But high floors carry a fatal cost. Water, 1 gallon weighs 8 pounds. You need at least a gallon a day. Carry that up 6 flights while you're already running low on calories, and you'll collapse before any threat finds you. High floors also become death traps if the building catches fire. Second or third floor is your compromise. Enough elevation to filter out the first wave of desperation, close enough to the ground to manage water, and to exit fast if fire takes the building. Pick concrete over wood. Always. No exceptions. Fire spreads in wood-frame buildings like rumors in a panicked crowd. Concrete just stands there and takes it. Look for buildings with multiple exits. One way in is a trap. 2 ways in is a coffin. 3 exits minimum, non-negotiable. Now here's what nobody talks about. The best urban hides aren't apartments. They're commercial buildings, old office blocks, mid-century warehouses, hospital supply annexes. These spaces have loading docks, freight elevators, reinforced floors, service corridors. The advantage isn't that they're invisible to everyone, it's that they're harder to systematically clear and require knowing where to look. You can live in the walls of a city. Invisible, untouchable. The next thing you master is noise discipline. This one kills people who should have made it. No generators running past dark. The exhaust smell carries. The heat signature shows up to anyone with basic thermal equipment. And that hum says, this person has fuel. That's an invitation. Cook once a day, before dusk. Smells travel. Wood smoke travels farther than you think. If you can smell someone else's food 3 streets over, they can smell yours. No lights visible from outside. Hang blankets. Board windows. Use candles low, away from glass. Light at night is a beacon. It says occupied, warm, worth rating. Learn to move at noise floor level, slow steps, edge of foot first, not the heel. Military call it fox walking. Your ancestors did it without thinking. You forgot it? Relearn it now. Water is your first crisis. Always. The taps die before the power does. The power dies before the police stop coming. Then the police stop coming. Every large urban building has a rooftop water tank. Old construction, pre-1980 architecture especially. Those tanks hold thousands of gallons. Untreated, but there, rainwater collection from flat industrial rooftops. Guttering systems you build yourself with plastic sheeting and 5-gallon buckets. Gravity fed into a makeshift filter, gravel, charcoal, sand, cloth. That removes sediment and particulate. It does not remove heavy metals or industrial chemicals. In an urban environment, chemical contamination is often the greater long-term threat. Know what your filter can and cannot do. Boil what you filter. Bring water to a full rolling boil for 1 minute. That kills every biological threat. Bacteria, viruses, protozoa. One boil done correctly is what the science requires. Don't waste fuel on a second boil that does nothing more. Food inside a collapsed city lasts longer than anyone prepares for. 3 weeks after collapse, grocery stores look empty. They're not the back stock rooms, the loading docks, the staff break rooms, the expired goods that got pulled from shelves but never got disposed of. Commercial kitchens and restaurants that nobody's thought to clear yet. Canned goods in office building cafeterias. Vending machines that most people can't open. You can. With basic tools in 10 seconds, pet supply stores get hit fast. Historical famines are consistent on this. From Leningrad to Caracas, high-calorie, shelf-stable food gets consumed regardless of the label. The window on pet supply stores is measured in hours, not days. Factor that into your timeline. Pharmacies are the second raid site after grocery, but the pharmacy in the basement of a hospital annex, or the industrial medical supplier 3 blocks from the hospital, those take longer to reach the top of the priority list. Not because people don't think of them, but because finding them requires knowing where to look. That knowledge is your edge. Stock what you need before the collapse deepens. Antibiotics matter more than guns after month 2. Infections kill more survivors than violence in every long-term collapse on record. Now let's talk about making yourself socially invisible. This is just as critical as hiding your location. Don't look healthy. This sounds insane. Listen anyway, in a starving population, someone who looks well-fed is a target. Rub some dirt on your face, wear clothes that look worn, walk with a limp if you have to, appear like you have nothing because you want nothing taken. Don't make eye contact unless you're ready for a confrontation. Predatory people read eye contact as either submission or challenge. Neither is safe. Avoid gathering points, aid stations, water distribution lines, communal kitchens. These seem safe. They're not. They're surveillance points, checkpoints, places where someone gets a list of who's still alive and where. You don't want to be on any list. Create a false presence somewhere else. This is old resistance tradecraft. Leave some of your older gear visible in an abandoned unit 2 floors below you. A sleeping bag, some empty cans, a worn jacket. Let scavengers find that. Let them think they found your spot. They stop looking. You stay invisible. Rotate your scavenging patterns. Never take the same route twice in a week. Pattern recognition is the enemy. If someone watches long enough to see your pattern, you're already compromised. Go out when weather is bad. Rain keeps opportunists inside. Wind covers sound. Cold reduces the number of people willing to be on the streets. These are your operating windows. Use them. Now talk about community, because this is where most solo survivalists get this wrong. You cannot vanish forever completely alone. The math doesn't work. You sleep, you get sick, you get injured. A solo urban survivor has a ceiling. It's about 4 to 6 months depending on conditions, and a group of 2 or 3 people cannot sustain rotating security shifts without collapsing from sleep deprivation within days. You need a vetted circle large enough to keep watch around the clock without grinding each other down. Sarajevo survivor accounts are consistent on this. A small trusted neighborhood network, not a pair, not a lone operator, is what actually sustained people through a multi-year siege. Vet anyone you consider carefully. Watch how they behave under stress before you trust them with your location. Someone who panics in a small confrontation will betray you in a big one. Small, tight groups built on complete trust survive longer than every other configuration. But small means 8 to 12 vetted people, enough to share load and rotate watch. Not 2, not 3. Assign roles, rotate watch, share load, and agree on a dissolution protocol before you need one. If the group has to split, where do you reconvene? What's the signal that it's safe? What's the signal that it's not? Plan this before it matters. Because when it matters, there is no time to plan. Long-term urban vanishing requires thinking in seasons. Winter changes everything. Fuel scarcity, frozen water sources, exposed movement through snow that leaves tracks. Start storing heat materials before cold sets in. Blankets, mylar, candles, dense caloric food. Insulate your hide space in summer so you're not scrambling in November. A city in winter with no heat infrastructure kills more people than the initial collapse event. Hypothermia does not go gently. It begins with violent shivering, progresses through muscle failure and disorientation, and ends in incapacitation. It compromises your ability to recognize or respond to it before it's too late. It is not survival. The people who vanish successfully inside collapsed cities aren't the strongest. They're not the most armed. They're the most patient. Patient enough to wait out the initial chaos wave. The first 2 weeks are when most of the violence concentrates. The desperate, the unprepared, the dangerous, they burn hot and fast. Your job in week 1 and 2 is simple. Stay completely still. Let the storm pass around you. By week 3, the landscape shifts. Opportunists have moved on or died. The streets quiet down. A new social structure starts forming. And if you've stayed invisible, you're not in anyone's map. You don't owe anyone a position. You don't have a face people remember. You're a ghost in a city of ghosts, and ghosts outlast everyone. The question isn't whether civilization will fracture. History says it always does eventually. The question is whether you're the kind of person who prepared before the moment or after. After is too late. After is the line at the water distribution checkpoint. After is the face someone remembers. Before is invisible. Before is alive. Tell us in the comments, what building would you choose, and what's the first thing you'd raid that nobody else is thinking about?